baseball, not always the best team wins, right? You got to still go out there and get it done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome out to the Rawlings Training Center for today's YBMcast. We got youth baseball talk. We're running around the state. We're talking to gentlemen like this that I have to my left. I have Aaron Jaworowski, David Birkby joining us here, Rawlings Tigers, because, guys, we want to talk about, we're doing kind of a health check of youth baseball, and we're talking about youth baseball ages 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 14, because I always look at these things and it's always interesting to me. You hear this, you hear that. There's always this rumor, there's always this talk. You got this parent over here, you got this coach over here, and you have all of this conversation. And we figured, let's go to the source and find out. We'll get a little health check. So that's what we're doing here today, powered by Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. Make sure you're registered, register your team, come out and see us. We got 7 tournaments we're gonna be out. Go see Dave and Dave. We're gonna have some fun with our Saturdays at the park, trivia, giving away baseball cards. Who doesn't like baseball cards?
Oh yeah.
Especially if we get a good one.
They're coming back.
I know.
They're super popular.
We gave away some Shoheis last year, some
Kids fighting over them?
You know what's hard though is the kids want the Tatis and the Shohei. Those are the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody was looking for the Cardinals, man.
Maybe a JJ Weddle soon.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Right, maybe. So make sure you check them out. Game7baseball.com. Visit us. Or visit the website, register. There it is. Guys, thanks for taking the time today to talk with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You bet.
Welcome to our facility. Middle of winter. Good time to talk ball.
Snow on the ground, right?
Oh yeah.
Needs to go away.
Yeah. It will.
It's getting there. Slowly but surely it's getting there.
Yep.
Guys, I want to talk first about the biggest started this topic, what is it? Maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I mean, club baseball, I won't even say that. You had a difference maybe between select baseball and it was now travel baseball, club baseball, all these different terminologies. Your thoughts, when did you see these trends and how do you think, why has it evolved into this?
I think it started 2006, 4, somewhere in there in St. Louis, where it, maybe a few years before that with a few clubs, but then it kind of started hitting where there's a few more popping up and 5 or 6 of them. And then, I don't know, 2000, we started in 2010.
Yeah.
And there was a handful already. Not as many, near as many as there are now.
I mean, I guess I kind of remember the select days when I was younger.
Right.
Because that was just, the term was like, that was the team for like, they were selected, like hand selected as they're the best kids. And then they were formed onto a team. Because back when I was younger, I mean, you would just go to a local association, they'd assign you a team. And that's who you played for. I was with the Kirkwood Cardinals because I played at Kirkwood Athletic Association. And that was my team.
They drafted you.
They drafted me.
Right. Exactly. I remember that.
And then there were some select teams, but there were no clubs. There was nothing like that. And then I got into high school and then, into college, and there started to become more of like those, not maybe select, but labeled as club teams, especially at the high school age, because they started to take a collection of talent and start taking them outside of the area to go face talented groups from Kansas City, from Memphis, from Chicago, etc. And that kind of formed, I think, the club model a little bit at those days.
Right.
And then it started to obviously mature and go in different directions and multiple ages.
Got younger.
Facilities and younger, and different models were developed through the, when we started in 2010 and up until now. And I always joke about this because I think it all gets lumped into what is considered travel baseball. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I can't give you a straight definition of what travel baseball is.
Yeah.
I don't know how to define
I think it's a fair point. I do. I think that's fair. I really do.
And you got a lot of teams that are in clubs, and those teams don't travel,
Right.
and not right, wrong, or indifferent. So then why are they labeled travel baseball? It's just a term that started here,
Right.
And do they need to travel? Do they not? Do some? That's a whole nother topic.
We're going to get to that here in just.
But I'm just saying, like with travel baseball, it's like, okay.
Because, and I think that's the big thing. I remember, because it was the associations when I was coaching my son's team, and it was about 04. It started 5. So, it's the machine pitch.
Yep.
You were National Blue.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
There was American
National Red.
National Red. Yeah,
Continental
that was
Blue,
kind of
red, white.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a matter of and there was rivalries within some of those. National Blue, you had like 8 teams, and they beat each other's brains in, all that stuff. And then all those kids went to high school and kept doing that.
Yep.
Do we miss some of that?
I think a little bit at times, yeah. I mean, I feel like back then there was, I should say, I think right now it's more spread out, where you might, at least at maybe the top level, you have
for sure.
5 or 6 teams
Right.
that can all compete with each other. And
Right.
then, like you mentioned, back then it might have been 2. And when those 2 teams played, it was a battle. And I think it's evolved. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely easier to navigate. Let's put it that way. But I mean, then again, there were less options, there were less choices. It was just kind of a clear path. This is what you do. And I'm not by no means like the added experiences and added avenues are great. Sometimes I think it's hard for coaches, parents, and organizations to know how to navigate that with the abundance of things popping up.
I think that I like that point, because I think that's kind of where it gets a little skewed at times. I don't think people have enough information, correct?
Yeah.
And I think that's where some of those things go to.
Yeah. Even when they're choosing a team or a club or a team that's not in a club, then it's just like, we talk in here all the time. Like, I don't think a lot of parents know what they're signing up for. I don't think there's transparency between the club and then the families on the front end. And I know with our group, that's something we really try to hammer in early with us and our coaches and parents, is get them aligned and what the offering is, what's our role with the club, what are we doing, facilities, training, helping the coaches, helping the athletes, and then what are the coaches doing with the players and the schedules. And there's a lot there where they need to be very transparent. And I think that can be a disconnect sometimes that doesn't have a good outcome,
I agree.
And if you can figure that part out, then you're gonna win. That's what I think. So, but
Then I want to ask you this. As you guys, you have your teams here and stuff. How many times do you get phone calls? It comes tryout time, and I want to come back to that one too. But it comes tryout time, and kids are flooding in. I'm sure you get a lot of kids and whatnot. But how many parents actually call and say, "Hey, can I speak with Mr. Birkby and find out about the club? If I bring my 10-year-old, what does that look like? What are the coaches? What are your philosophy?" Do you get any kind of basically, just to find out?
yeah, I think you want me to take it.
Go ahead.
I think with us on the youth side, a lot of it starts with emails and tryout forms, questionnaires that come in. I think a lot of those parents go to our youth coaches directly and inquire about their teams, their expectations. What level do you play? Do you guys travel? Do you not? Those types of questions. But I know at our youth tryout, we try to address all the parents there. So we will go around from field to field, talking to the parents in the bleachers about our program, how are we structured, what are our core values, here's our training model, and just try to educate them.
Right.
And it may not be a fit for everybody, but for others it is, and it's a good fit, and there's a connection there. So I don't know if it's like a volume of calls coming in on the youth side.
My answer would be not enough. I wish more would. And I say that because, and I don't like discredit it. Everyone's busy and like,
sure. No, I get it.
And a lot of people, quite frankly, don't understand the questions to ask. But I think that
I agree.
Yeah.
I wish, that they would have stuff that's important to their family in mind and to their kid, and have I would love it if they had a list of 10 questions that they wanted to come to us with and ask to find out if we're a right fit, find out if the coaches are the right fit, and kind of vet the history of the program, or what we're all about, or what everybody other clubs are all about, et cetera, to find that right fit. Because a lot of times, decisions are based on friends and location and blind because it's so late and we have to make a choice, and FOMO. And I would much rather have the process be more upfront of having those conversations and talking things through and having explanation, because I think that's just going to better the whole process for everybody involved.
I agree. I love that.
But I will say with our program on the youth and the high school side, before anybody signs up, registers, accepts a spot, declines a spot, there's a conversation. And a lot of times it's us being proactive, calling them, and we make time, and we want to talk to those parents and explain to them how we're set up and our structure. Or
even a coach coming over with a team.
Yeah, and that youth coach will talk to his parents, and so that the conversation does happen, and it's 100% of the time. They can't get in unless they had that conversation. But to your original question, they're not the ones always calling on the front end,
right,
asking the questions Dave's referring to. So we get there at some point in the process. So there's a lot of conversation. It's not posting a list saying, here you go, here's your roster.
Right.
But
I love that.
Yeah.
Because and I think that's where the education thought process, or educating parents and parents, a 9-year-old kid, they hear Rawlings Tigers, let's go over there.
Yep.
Must be good. I don't, sometimes you think, and so I wonder sometimes how that process, and that's something we, Youth Baseball Midwest, I think about that a lot. How do we, and this is why this is what has brought this conversation, educating parents, understanding, giving people a look at how programs deal with things.
Yeah.
Because, you get the back and forth, and the parent goes, oh, they were horrible. Well, why?
Yeah.
Well, they just didn't do this. Well,
sure.
Do we know that? And then on the other side, sometimes clubs go, oh, those parents are horrible. Oh, no, they just are investing. And this is where I think we've had this disconnect.
Yeah.
I think it's a smaller percentage, though, personally.
Sure.
But yet, how do we help that? And I love the transparency part, because I think that's what it needs to be, right?
Yeah. I even think with high school, I know we're talking youth.
No, you're fine.
But high school, it helps with the players in that conversation too. And a handful of times they are. They want to be on the phone and they have questions, and those are the kids that are dialed in, and it teaches them to be an adult, and it helps them grow, But you've seen it, Dave, with calls we make. And it's like when the kid's on there on the phone or in the meeting room with us, that's huge,
I love that.
Yeah, but youth can be a little different. If it's a 9-year-old, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more parent and coach at that point.
And it should be, because the kid doesn't know. He's just looking at you like,
he wants
can we
to
throw a
see
baseball?
Yeah.
Right? And the next thing with that is, and that's where I think the difficulties come into this. We've had these conversations, we've talked about it. Somebody comes and tries out, expectations. In these conversations, do you think that builds trust, that when you come to a child and they're at the tryout, and if they're just coming to try out, and you say it's a 10U team and you have 4 10U teams, how do you guys deal with that? Do you just place kids of like capabilities?
We try to educate the parents when they get there with data on every team, and what level is the coach, where do they play, what are their practice expectations, do they use their ball in location or Chesterfield, do they want multi-sport athletes, which most of them do in our club. We like multi-sport, and then that helps match it from the beginning. At least they're looking for between the right lines, right? And then at the tryout, the coaches can call the players that are there, and they sort out the roster side of things. So
I think that's the toughest thing for parents, don't you? Is like,
yeah,
your son's not a AAA player.
Yeah.
And we use these terms AAA, double. I think that's only for the tournament companies because they're trying to create opportunities for competition,
balance,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Competitive balance. Mm-hmm. Is it hard to get a parent to understand, look, the AA is only for that. We're going to work. Your kid has as much opportunity in this and that. Are those difficult conversations?
I think it certainly can be. I mean, I don't think anybody likes hearing that maybe they're, I think every parent has a very positive outlook on how their son is, and they should.
Yeah.
I think that those conversations can be had in a manner where they're delivered to where they're helping that player out at the point of where they're at right now. And we don't want to put them in a position where they over succeed and they're way above a certain talent level and they're not being challenged. And we don't want to put them in a position where they under succeed and are playing at a level where they just can't learn the game.
Right.
And so I think it's more important, and I always preface those conversations. We have those conversations far more on the high school level. Those conversations, in our opinion on where you fit, can change in a week, can change in a month, can change in a year. And if you ask me at that point, I'll give you an honest opinion right now because I have to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm not doing you a service if I'm being dishonest or being a hype man or whatever. So I have to have those conversations and be honest with you because I think you want that honest feedback. Just as you can down the pipeline, college coaches are going to do that for you and things of that nature. So do they always agree with that? Do they always see eye to eye with that? Probably not, being honest, but I think that at least they know where your thoughts are at the moment are. And I think that can ultimately only help.
Yeah. I agree. I think we should. I think that's because you being realistic and giving the parent, and if you have a parent, in my opinion, that goes, well, we're just not going to, it's okay. It's fine. That's up to you. I don't think you ever could. I don't think we should ever try and tell a parent what to do with their kid in that respect. And just, if they say, well, we're going to go do something else, that's up to you. Yeah. I'm just giving you my honest thoughts on your son.
And I've always said this too, because this is 100% true. We've had guys in our program, because we've been at this for 16 years, that have been single A, double A players at 12U and ended up playing the SEC.
Right.
We've had AAA major guys at 12U that didn't end up playing high school baseball. It is not a precursor to your future at all. And nobody can sit here and tell you where you're going, where you're going to end up. I can't. He can't. We've been doing it a long time. We can say some.
You have a crystal ball there.
I wish I did. That'd be awesome, but I don't.
Right.
And so it's not a precursor. It's just where you're at. So.
Absolutely, and I think that's the most honest answer right there. It is. It's just nobody, and we have Mr. Mulder on the show from Prep Baseball, every week with us, and we talk about that. And he talks about projections and what they are, and this is what he does for a living.
Yep.
And he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But he will still tell you that doesn't mean that everybody's going to do this or this or this.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it.
Yep.
We were talking with Nate Orff on the show this past week, and so and here's Nate. He didn't get much look out of high school. Worked his way, ended up, I think it was UCI and then Baylor, and then to the major leagues.
Yep.
I mean, he went the hard way.
Yeah.
And so how it really kind of boils down to how much you're willing to work.
Yeah. Got to put the work in. Like, it's all starts and ends right there. You got to find your routine and be a creature of habit and everything in between. And you got to work and you got to love it, I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next point, and this is the one I think that, to me, is really kind of like, it's hard, I think, to kind of maybe explain it, kind of one of those things. I think it all is. It's because it varies. But what does development look like for a 9 or 10 or 11-year-old in your guys' thoughts?
I think it's going to be different there's a lot of similarities. So to me, it's at the early ages. So let's say they're beginning to play coach pitch baseball at 9 years old.
Yeah.
To me, development starts with just learning the game and learning the love for the game and being engaged and wanting to be active in practice and learning simple fundamentals. There's so much access to information these days, and the trickle down of development has gotten so good, like the teaching methodologies and the ability to create and things that it's the reason why high school kids are doing the things that they're doing.
I agree.
It's off the charts, right?
Yeah.
But it starts getting filtered down to young guys really like even quicker. And I think a lot of times we skip a lot of steps. I always kind of think of it as like a pyramid. We got to have our foundational things. If we skip the foundation, there's cracks in it, and we start going up the pyramid, we start teaching these things too early, the whole bottom layer falls out, and we have some skill, but we don't have any knowledge or we don't understand the game.
Yeah.
So I think at the younger levels, a lot of development focus is that. It's learning your situations, where to be on the field, where to go with the ball, how to play simple catch. Like, honestly, like,
that's a pet peeve of mine.
Nothing drives me more crazy than going to a high school summer game and watching the ball get flown all across the foul lines during catch. That should be a simple thing that you take pride in. So, like, the simple little things at the young ages, well, keeping them engaged and teaching them the love for it and wanting them to be there is, that type
I just want to ask, where did the grow hop go? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just say that. I think he's spot on. And another thing I think that gets overlooked in development is defense. So we really try to stress defense around here because I think as a father-son, parent-son relationship, they're going to go hit on their own as much as they can, and that's the fun part. Or they're going to pitch or play catch in the front yard or throw bullpens on the driveway. But a lot of times the defense gets overlooked, and if you get outs on defense, your team's got a pretty good chance to do well that weekend or that game. So I think that gets lost a lot in development. So like defensive plans, defensive-based practices, team defense, that goes a long way. So.
I like that thought process because that goes into, and it's from there down. You go out to any tournament and you walk around and just watch the kids warming up. And we're not, as we call, playing catch.
Yeah.
We are playing throw and chase. And I watch a basic throwing pattern non-existent. And I wonder, what are we doing within this structure that we're not helping these kids understand just a basic step and throw that rotates the body, just being athletic. And I think the foundational piece, we've kind of lost ourselves in, I think, maybe overthinking some things. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. We're you see it all the time, and I'm guilty of it. Like, we skip steps. We skip over steps that we should be kind of laying into a little bit longer and making sure we check those boxes before we go ahead. And that's just even more like a microcosm of what society is. The hardest part of this game, and I tell young guys this all the time, is this is a game of repetition, and it's a game of doing the monotonous over and over again and getting really good at it and being okay with it. And nowadays, where you can get on your phone or everything and AI and everything else, you can get it in a matter of seconds. Well, that's not how baseball works. So if you start skipping ahead to get to whatever perceived end goal it is, you skip so many layers that the path is muddied. And now it's really hard to reverse it back and try to find out what you missed and learn it back again or anything like that, because that's, baseball is built on layers. So
good analogy.
I totally agree. And I think that's true of everything. Because I used this example the other day. We were talking about some of these things. I said, well, let's just take, for instance, your times tables. If you can't skip the threes, right? You can't. Because at some point you're going to get to 5 times 3s in your 5s.
Yeah.
And if you skip the 3s, you're going to miss it. I don't know that one. So you have that crack in the fissure, and you don't know how.
Yeah.
You have to do your times tables as it does, and it is monotonous. Everything that you learn at some point is going to be monotonous, because all learning is repetition, all of it. You didn't do your times well, maybe you did. I don't know. I wasn't there. I maybe there are some kids that do their times tables once because they got that brain, and that's it. They got it.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
That wasn't me either.
So I had to do it over and over again, the flashcards and all the stuff. I think we've kind of gotten into, as we talk about the instant generation, where we're looking for my son to go out and be, 4 for 5 and hitting bombs and whatnot. He's 10, and he isn't very big. And I think that's the tough thing that we're seeing.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to it, on the younger sides, and then it's all position specific too. So the catching journey is going to be a lot different than a shortstop's journey, and shortstop's got to learn all different variations of throws and short hops and backhands and double play pivots and everything in between. If he's missing 1 or 2 of those when he gets older, he missed that layer, right? Where catching's the same way, and it's all specific to that position. So it just, that's what makes it a fun game, right?
It's hard.
It's very hard.
Everything
it is hard.
Everything that you're going to do well, in my opinion, is hard. In that respect. So those are things that I think. So development-wise, when you keep going through that process, guys, how then it would come back to that thought process of, I know you guys probably don't sit and rank kids. Well, he's a AA player, this or that. How do you assess, those things, and how do you set those kids in motion? Say like a kid that comes to you at 11, and he goes through the trial process on a team. How do you do that?
Well,
like moving forward, seeing you need to get to the next step in the process.
Yeah, just when you're looking at that kid and how you're going to help them, and help this young man. You see him for the first time. I know you don't go, oh, he's a AA player.
No.
What's the assessment there? Do you just look at the overall? How do you start that process?
Probably athleticism.
To me, it's a hard question to answer, but I could answer it semi-easily. To me, you're always just looking for whatever that next challenge is. So you kind of assess the player at that point, and you see what his skill set is, and you see what he feels confident in doing in whatever aspect of the game that is. And that's different on the field with game situations versus in a cage, assessing talent and movements and mechanics and all that.
Yeah.
And you kind of, as a coach, your eyes start to tell you, okay, he really understands this through his conversations. He really has a concept of this. He knows what he's doing here. Well, let's try the next thing. Okay, we see some struggle. Kid doesn't like that. But that's a good thing. That's a light bulb for a coach. So a coach starts to then go in on whatever that is for whatever that player needs. And it isn't like a correct ABC answer, in my opinion. It's going to be different for Joe, for Tim, for Steve, whoever. And trying to identify that is what good coaches can do. And trying to find out, because the hardest thing, especially for parents to understand, is there is no clear path. There's no similar path for Nate Orr, for JJ Weatherholt, or anybody. Everybody's path has been different. So there isn't like you've graduated from 4th grade, you're going on to 5th grade. It's you have kind of figured this out, and now let's challenge you somewhere else.
Well, you guys had a group of kids just recently, all pretty much went on to the next level.
Yeah.
We sat here, a couple of years ago, had a chat with them. One was your son.
Yeah.
But all of those kids are different. They're all in different
Very
places.
Different. Yeah.
And I'm sure they didn't all do, move to the next levels the same ways, right?
No, they're all different. And we joke once in a while when my son Nolan was in his youth ages and he was pitching with Dave. I was like, he's going to be a PO when he's a freshman, and he don't pitch one inning of high school ball, and I was a first baseman in college. So it's like you don't
And I told him we're going to worry about stepping in the same direction 2 times in a row. That's okay.
So that's just one example, small example, but you just don't. They just take off at different times. And some of those kids, Dave said earlier, were in AA and others weren't.
The timetables are different.
Yeah, they just.
There's no way you can. There's no way to project that. You get thoughts, you get inklings as a coach, and because you've seen it before. It's like, hey, he's really getting that. Like he's starting to do that on his own without me correcting, without me saying it again or anything like that. And it's just, I think it's part of the coach's job or the trainer, whoever you're seeing, is to constantly you're working at 2 different angles. You're always finding something new because that's important to the kid to keep things a little bit fresh and something challenging, but you can't ever forget the things like reiterate what they're doing well, keep building the foundation. And it's a constant balance of that, and then that growth pattern just continuously goes.
Really, your question though is really difficult with the younger they are, like 7s and 8s and 9s. I mean, like if they're out there and just an average athletic kid or above average athleticism, they're going to do great and tear it up, Right. Even if the skills aren't polished yet or the obviously the IQ is not there with all of them on the baseball side. But then as they get older, 11, 12, 13, repeatable mechanics, like Dave said, that's where you start seeing some of that stuff and things get refined. But the younger age groups, like the root of it, it's like they got to have fun. They got to be a where they have fun playing baseball. And that keeps them plugged in and engaged when you get to the next level, just stay on the ladder. So
I always, because, we've been doing this, you guys been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I always thought, because with the younger ages like that, and then I think it's even that much more difficult. 12, 13, and 14, you have this and you have this.
Yeah.
You have that.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see this team and there's 2 kids that are, 5'10" at 13, and then all the rest of them are 4'7".
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just, you're like, that's the difficulty of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the one kid got that 5'10" frame, and he's very athletic, can do it and whatnot. And you just kind of go, wow.
Yeah.
And then the other kid's 5'10", kind of spindly and doesn't really know how to use his body yet.
Yeah.
That's a whole different training thought process, isn't it?
Yeah.
100% different. 100% different. And
one of them's clean and polished, and you need him to grow,
Right.
And the other one's got the body and height and physicality.
Or the kid that has all the skills. Or the kid that has all the skill sets and then grows 6 inches in a year and you have to go reteach it.
Yeah.
That happens, doesn't
It
it?
happens all the time.
Yeah. Never stop.
In this whole process, you guys, I know at the older age levels, you have paid coaches and whatnot, and I'm sure there's other, but for me, you are a dad.
I'm a dad. Yep.
You guys coach, so that makes you dad coaches.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
See, there you go. It was that easy.
It is.
And I don't know where this became taboo.
Yeah.
Why did it become taboo?
I don't know either, and I'm on your side of the fence on this conversation. I think the game needs it. I think the kids need it. I think the dads need it. I think there's a ton of qualified dads that are really good baseball guys that are passionate. They can lead that group through the season, start to finish, and handle parents and schedules and tournaments and practices and plans. And they love it. They're passionate about it. I think from our standpoint, with our model, it works very well, but we find the right dads. Yeah. That's the key. You got to find the right people that can handle it, that fit your core values. And if you do that, then let's go, we're ready. So, but that's a little trick.
Do you have some of those that maybe you have the right guy who knows the nuts and bolts of the thing, and then one that kind of manages all the other things?
Yeah, you get some that may be better on the organizational side and the communication, but Their heart's in it and stuff, but they're like, I want more help on the baseball, and how do you do practice plans so you work with those coaches more?
Yeah.
There's a lot of resources we have, and then you get some stronger baseball background guys that communication, organization's not their key, so they might need a business manager to help them, or
A baseball mom.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, exactly. So if you get them both, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And
yeah.
I think that's the one thing that, to me today, like you said, I agree. I don't know why that happened, but I think it's starting to turn a little bit. And for us with Youth Baseball Midwest, there's certain things that I will say I really push, and this is one of them because, I coached my son moving up, and it was in that piece, and he did well. I'd coached teams that my son were on.
Yeah.
And, but I'm still a dad. I'm still invested. I think dads are more invested than sometimes other guys that come on and whatnot. Not that that's bad or this or that. And one of the things that I think is hard for us with these conversations is that kind of everybody goes, well, they're just banging on. Nobody's banging on anything. These are subjects that I think we have to have conversations about.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's, somebody's terrible because they think this. No, it's just let's talk these things through, because we have to create the best environment that we can for kids to still learn and grow and do. And I think that's the key here. And I think in those younger ages, man, if you got however many teams, you can't pay all those kids. You can't pay to have all those teams coached.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think a lot of times it sounds appealing to parents sometimes to say, oh, we have a paid coach, or we want a paid coach, without really understanding what that would cost. Because if, let's say, theoretically, we had to pay a coach at every one of our youth teams, not just for a season, but for all the winter training, for all the time put in, that's a lot of hours that dads put in.
Yes.
Dads, these guys are invested in it. They go home after practice thinking about what happened at practice. They put extra time around their work schedules to build out the schedule through the summer, do all the things because they're passionate about it. So, one, the cost would go through the roof on what is already probably labeled as an expensive sport to play.
Right.
Two, a lot of time, again, I go back to the passion of dad coaches. I'm sure we all don't get it 100% right. Nobody will. But, those guys care. They're invested, not only because their son's friends. They're there to, I think people forget this all the time. For the most part, they're volunteering their time. They don't have to do it.
Right.
They're doing it
because
they want to. They want to help. I don't think there's a soul who gets in this that doesn't get in it for at least the first part of saying, I want to help and be a solution.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes a little sideways, but that's what they get into it for. So they're there to volunteer and help, and they take on a lot of unnecessary things at times because of it, that, a lot of guys, they don't need to do that if they don't want to. So I think that, those guys, if it's a paid guy who's a 22-year-old who's knowledgeable, who's maybe played in college, he'll probably walk out of that field after the game and he's got a life outside of that team. And so do the dads, but I don't think you can equate the amount of care and and there are probably paid coaches that go above and beyond. They're great.
Yeah. Yep.
But on the average, I think the dads really, they pour in so much time and effort.
And sometimes, like you said, maybe just experience. This young man, you do your best. You come, you talk to him, you talk through. He has some knowledge, but does he really have the experience level to understand how to navigate through some of those things, helping these kids? It's a learned experience. Yeah. Coaching is a learned experience. It's not, you can do a lot of X's and O's, but then you have the kids standing in front of you.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. It's first time I was in college, and I thought, why not? I'll do it. I'm 19. I played soccer growing up, liked the sport, enjoyed it. Showed up at the AYSO and said, do you guys need coaches? The lady looks up from her desk a little bit, and when she saw me a little bit stunned, this young guy, she says, do you have a son? I know. Oh, so I had to go through the vetting process and all that stuff, you know. No criminal record or anything, so that's good.
Yeah.
And she was shocked. I mean, flabbergasted. Funnest. It just had so much fun. I was coaching 5-year-old kids play soccer.
Yeah.
And I just took and grabbed the things that I'd learned from coaches and whatnot.
That's awesome.
And did and set those things in motion. I wrote a paper about this in school because I used to dip skull. Don't do it anymore. Don't do that, kids. You know, whatever. But I didn't do it in front of the kids and never did. But but you have, you know, I'd spit.
Yep.
And I have these 15 little boys in front of me. And I'm talking about the game, this and that, and I spit. And all of a sudden, it dawns on me, I got 15 little guys just spitting all over the ground. And I was like, it dawned on me, like, fellas, Mom probably won't like that. Let's not do that. You know? And it dawned on me, they were actually listening. They were watching me.
Yeah.
And it was a realization for a kid that really didn't understand that at that moment, how much impact you actually do have on those kids.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes gets lost.
Yeah.
100%.
Right?
Very impressionable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it is a care, and I think we have to be careful with how we deal with that part of it and understand, you know, and I know you guys, you seem to, you know, and what you're talking about with you know, if you're paying a coach who that person is, then you got to think about that, right?
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
So if you don't know the guy, you know, you don't know sometimes what you're getting. It's tough. It's a tough situation. And so, go ahead.
I just think dads are just a big part of our sport. Like in the big picture, they have been forever, and they're part of our game and what we're doing. And I just think there's so many that just enjoy it and are really good at it.
Yeah.
And why would we want to just cut that off? You know, like, that's my stance. So.
I agree, and I think even into the upper ages, if you've got a dad that played at a high level, has an understanding, or even if he's a good coach and he's getting the kids, why would you want to replace that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't. You know, well, you've got to stop because they're going to be 15.
You know, and those 12 families want to play for that guy.
Right.
So he's a dad, so we're going to penalize it? You know, like, no, let's go play. It's
working.
It worked out great. Yeah. So we got some awesome people, you know, that we're proud to get out there.
I love that. In this last piece, and I think this is the big thing here, you know, we're circling back to this piece with all the, you know, development, the coaching, the things, you know, we talked about travel.
Yeah.
You know, we call it travel ball. And, you know, I've said this, I'm very open. You can hear me say it on as many shows. I'll say it in front of everybody. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been there, done that.
Yep.
You know, I see a lot of these teams come out to these tournaments and they just get beat up.
Yeah.
Or go, maybe they're not getting beat up, but they're 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're losing some close ball games and this and that. And we got to go travel. We got to go play somebody else. Well, you can't beat these teams. To me, that doesn't make sense. Right. I don't know how that works, but I think we've gotten caught up in we've got to travel, but I'm not quite sure why.
You want to go or want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess from the beginning, I think the allure of traveling was this thought of playing different and higher levels of competition. Mm-hmm. The thought was, this is going way back, of, okay, we've kind of figured out our local scene. We're pretty good in our local scene. Let's go challenge ourselves outside, and then it start into a higher competition with people that we don't know and see where we're at. That's where the idea started. And then it's kind of just gone in a lot of different ways. And, you know, like he said earlier, if you have all the best of the worlds in we're blessed in St. Louis. We have a great baseball culture here. There's a ton of different levels and opportunities and venues and things, and you can get almost everything you want taken care of right here if you wanted to. And there would be no need to. And you can get great competition, you can do that. There are a ton of opportunities outside of here. Do you have to go do it? Nope, you don't. Maybe when you get older and you talk about recruiting experiences and opportunities, that's a different conversation. That also happens here too.
Agreed.
But then it becomes a choice of, is it an experience travel? Like, are you going for the experience?
Right.
To get the families together? Yeah, are you going to that? Are you going to go see something that's really cool at a cool venue? Are you going to get all the pool parties at the hotel?
Beach in Florida.
At the beach.
Animal City.
And by all means, if that's what you're doing it for, great. Don't go do your thing. That's great. If it's, if you feel like the necessity is that no matter what, I have to do 3, 4, 5 travels out of town, but you don't necessarily have a reasoning behind it, I think that's where it gets a little lost.
Yeah.
I think too that the industry is pushing it and pushed it that way with all the new venues, and I mean they're awesome ballparks like Shipyard of Myrtle Beach and Grand Park, and Bettendorf, Iowa has one there, and
Bettendorf, really?
Yeah.
So you want to wait till at least June?
Yeah. They got an indoor tied into it, and E-Town and South Haven, and I think
that's a cool experience.
What is it?
Cool experience.
Yeah, but I think they're pushing too. Like they're pushing their marketing out and promotions and events, and all the coaches are getting all this stuff, and it is cool. It's awesome. They're great venues and different opportunities of playing some different parks and cities, and that ties back to the experience part. But I think that's part of the travel push probably the last 10 years is that the venues are getting bigger and more of them, and maybe less old school athletic association fields we see in the St. Louis area, which I love with the personality there, Yeah. I think that's part of the travel ball craze, people want to get out there.
And I don't want to be like, I'm by no means speaking against it. Like, I think those things are awesome and cool. And it's like, there are so many experiences a baseball team and a parent and a family can have now, which is great. I would say that, like, kind of have some forethought or have some thought as to where, like, what does your team really need right now?
Right.
And
I think that's good.
Like, what is going to further their development? What's going to keep those players and families engaged? Because, like, for example, like, let's say you just played the same schedule you play year in, year out, and you don't ever do anything. Well, kids might get bored. They might all of a sudden lose interest because we've done this. Yeah. Even though we haven't mastered it, we've done it before. And so then the idea is, okay, well, let's do something different. So, like, but at least have, like, some idea, like, put some thought behind why you're doing it. And if it's for the experience side and the families are behind it, go do it. And if it's for, hey, you're this super elite deal and you want to go challenge yourself, go do it. But
I think those are really the only two reasons, personally, because I ask these questions of people because I want to see how things are, because yes, I agree. Yeah. It is, you have all these venues, you have turf everywhere, people come play. And it's easy to get caught up in it because you travel and go, we're going, huzzah, we're going here.
Yeah, and keep up the Joneses, we're going here, so we got to go here. And
But understanding why you're doing it, I think we get caught up in things. Why are we going to this place to do this, for this, thing? Because on the other side, when you talk about elite, we can say what we want to. Everybody can, there's maybe a handful of elite teams in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be honest about the fact that at this point within youth baseball, it's what you said. That AA player still may be the guy that ends up pitching in Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
That's not. But as of right now, the development process and whatnot, and I liken it to this. There's a lot of people that use the thought process, say, we're going out of town because we want to see different teams. That's the big one, whatnot. Sure. And I always ask, well, you can't beat the team that's right there.
Yeah.
And because in high school, you're going to play a conference schedule. And
Yep.
guess what? All 4 years, it's going to be the same teams.
Yep.
For the most part, and I see these schedules, I see it.
Yeah.
You're playing pretty much the same non-conference schedule.
Yep. You are.
You get to college.
Yeah.
You're fortunate enough to get to college. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You're playing the same conference opponents.
Yeah.
Guess what? Your non-conference is pretty
similar.
much the same.
Yeah. Pretty similar.
And if you're fortunate enough, by some stretch of the imagination, to make it to that the upper echelon, guess what?
Yep.
You're playing the same teams. And I think we've kind of, and I understand, it's this, that, I think we've got lost it. To learn how to compete, if you're going to the same tournament with that same team, that's what rivalries are based on.
Yeah.
We've lost that. Instead of going, well, we just want to play different teams, so we're going, well, you haven't beat that team yet, right? Where's the rivalry? Where is the competitive thought process? Says, hey, you know what? We've gone to these 2 tournaments. We're running in the same teams there. We want to go. We want to put ourselves in a position to win it this year. Yeah. I don't know, and I'm all for the experience, even if it's to Branson, or Kansas City, for the experience, the bonding. Let the kids swim in the pool.
Yeah.
And I was one of those that said, don't swim, right? And I was. And I look back and I go, that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're kids. They'll bounce back up and they'll play if they don't play well.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have swam so long.
Yeah.
And it's a learning experience. So you live, you get better and stuff. But that's my thought. I get those. I get those things. And those are fantastic. But I think that, teaching the kids how to compete, because you're going to play those same schools. And listen, the GAC, the MCC, the St. Louis Suburban, just right here in this area, you can get waxed pretty good.
Yeah.
Right here in this town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. The Eureka team that's over there right now is going to be pretty fantastic. That Lindbergh team down there, that Francis Howell team over there.
Howell's good this year? They're never good, are they?
Shocked, right?
It's a clockwork with Perkins over there, isn't it?
I'm telling you, it's just like,
Every single year.
where do these kids come from, man? Maybe shipping them in from the back. I don't know.
He's got it going on.
And it's true, you see that. And, you got teams year in, year out. I know Coach Beckman over there at Cal Central, he's building that program. He wants to be
Field.
that. And I think he will.
Yeah.
You got Coach Sissom now taking Fort Zumwalt West. I think he'll do just fine over there and keep that program up. These are teams, because it's hard to win a state championship.
Very hard.
You guys last year at Vianney, that blew me away.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's hard to win.
It's hard.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just hard to win. And I think sometimes we get lost in the other stuff instead of teaching the kids to understand what it means to compete. Because at the end of the day, I know we're not counting wins and losses really much right now, but still learning how to do that. And we shouldn't run away from that.
Sure.
That's my thought process to it.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair
Stuff.
So, I love these conversations because I think we have to, and if we're getting parents to pay, to talk with us and engage in this kind of thought process, and you guys, I appreciate the candidness. I really do. Because I think parents need to see that, because you may not get to talk to everybody personally, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's too many folks.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd go home and your
Got a
wife
big staff.
Wife might get angry.
Yeah.
Right. The final thoughts, guys, on where you see youth baseball over the next 5 years.
I think it's on the track where I think the venues are going to keep getting bigger and big venues, like we're seeing now in Kansas City with home field and the Grand Park and the Lake Points of the world. Like, I don't think there's any slowing down there.
Yeah.
And more resources, continued training, and I don't think that's stopping either, so.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Kids keep getting better and better. What I see out of high school guys now is just out of this world good from a talent perspective. What I hope doesn't get lost in this chase of the bigger numbers and the bigger this and the whatever is those foundational things that I talked about, because without those, none of the numbers really work. We're seeing this at college baseball. We're seeing guys that you can throw 94 miles per hour, but you can't hit a strike zone, and those guys are now in other places. Yeah. And so it's like, just make sure that, at the younger levels, they're engaged, they're loving the game, they're learning the fundamentals, they're being taught the right things, and then the skill set trickle down of the methodology and teachings are going to get them to progress a little bit quicker.
I think we ought to hide the hit track screen.
Yeah, at least for the whiplash
for
effect.
the little kid, right?
Yeah.
I know. I see that so much, and I'm like, just flip the screen. It's okay to have it. You can talk to him afterwards, but focus here.
Yeah. That's fun.
Hey, guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us
that was
on.
awesome. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, guys.
Loved it.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. Please, if you like what we're doing, take a moment, hit the subscribe button down there, like it, share it out with your friends. It all helps the algorithm. And these two gentlemen here, David Birkby, Aaron Jaworowski, taking the time today.
Thanks.
Much appreciated,
You
guys. If you want to check out the Rawlings Tigers, make sure you go to
RawlingsTigers.com. Yep.
And I've been to the website. It's a lot of information. If you're looking for something, there you go. These guys do a great job over here, and I appreciate it. So, folks, have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.